We are live. Thank you everybody for tuning in today. Today is an absolutely lovely Tuesday afternoon, August 19th. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have one hell of a show. So first off, thank you all very much for tuning in. I appreciate it. Everybody, please make sure to like today's broadcast. Please make sure to subscribe if you have not already. And without further delay, let's just get right into it. So thank you all for your patience. We are about 1 hour behind schedule today. I had some internet technical difficulties, so thank you all very much. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have some massive news regarding the Trump administration's ongoing battle against all of the agents of the deep state that have been deliberately leaking and mishandling. Really, leaking is the proper word for this. They've been leaking sensitive information as well as politicizing sensitive information that the public really should not know. A lot of classified information has been getting leaked out in order to try to subvert the America First agenda, President Trump's America First agenda, but also at in a much larger way, really the democratic will of the American people. And so, folks, we have a lot to talk about today. So between you and me, I think you're going to enjoy today's show because as it relates to all of that, earlier today, just maybe 2 or 3 hours ago, in fact, our Director of National Intelligence, her name is Tulsi Gabbard, has actually just cleaned house. Leakers identified and leakers removed, fired, and also criminal punishments underway. Federal criminal punishments are being dispensed and handed out. So we have a lot to talk about today. And on top of that, also, beyond that, we're going to also take a look at the current state of everyone's favorite government classified information leaker. His name is Democratic Senator Adam Schiff. Adam Schiff today has found himself in some hot water. Seems like every single day the water gets a little bit hotter for Adam Schiff. And so he's actually put together his own legal fund because he knows he's pretty much screwed. And so, folks, today we have a lot to talk about. So without further delay, let's go ahead and jump right into the news. Ladies and gentlemen, Tulsi Gabbard has just 3 hours ago removed the security clearances from 37 officials at Trump's explicit direction over politicizing classified intelligence. Take a look at this. Director of National Intelligence, our DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, on Tuesday, a couple hours ago, announced her office had stripped the security clearances from 37 current and former intelligence officials, accusing them of politicizing and manipulating classified sensitive intelligence. A Director of National Intelligence memo sent out on Monday, yesterday, included the names of officials who worked at the CIA, the NSA, the State Department, and the National Security Council, including former Obama Director of National Intelligence, James Clapper. We've talked a lot about James Clapper over the last couple days. Not a good guy. If you want to talk about deep state swamp beast, really one of the worst people you could imagine, folks, James Clapper. So he has had, as well as a bunch of other deep state swamp beasts, they have now had their security clearance stripped and revoked. Gabbard claimed these officials, Gabbard claimed that James Clapper told officials to, quote, compromise normal procedures in order to rush out the 2017 intelligence community assessment related to Russia's influence in the 2016 election. We've talked a lot about that. I think you guys know about that. James Clapper was one of the key orchestrators of the fake Russia collusion hoax that Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, as well as Barack Obama's and his senior ranking intelligence officials, Clapper and Brennan and Comey, they all fabricated this together in unison. And Clapper was one of the guys that was really pushing this along. He was a key player in that. Gabbard wrote on X earlier today, being entrusted with a security clearance is a privilege, not a right. And she's right about that. She's right about that. She said, those in the intelligence community who betray their oath to the U.S. Constitution and put their own interests ahead of the interests of the American people have broken the sacred trust that they promised to uphold. Folks, we're going to have a lot to talk about here. Everybody stick around because today's broadcast, it's going to get better and better and better the longer you tune in. I promise we have a lot to talk about today. You guys are going to like this one, okay? Let's keep on reading, though. Notable officials on the list include, these are, so she revoked the security clearance of 37 individuals. Notable individuals on that list: Brett M. Holmgren, former Assistant Secretary of State for Intelligence and Research; Richard H. Ledgett, former NSA Deputy Director; Stephanie O'Sullivan, former Principal Deputy Director of National Intelligence; and Luke R. Hartig, former Senior Director of Counterterrorism at the National Security Council. Ladies and gentlemen, they say the fish rots from the head down. This entire damn fish is rotten. This head has been attached to the rest of the fish, so to speak. It's been rotting and festering for years, for decades, God knows how long. And it's like, these are some of the biggest intelligence players, intelligence officials that we have in the country. Director, Deputy Director, NSA, National Security Council, all of these, and then of course the DNI, Clapper himself. These are supposed to be the people that are protecting American security, American classified, highly secure information, national intelligence, secrets, classified information. These individuals are supposed to be protecting this information and safeguarding this information, and instead they have been leaking it. But even worse, what's even worse than leaking information? It's intentionally fabricating it and, you know, working to deceive the American public, manipulating the information. Let's keep reading here. Also included was a guy named Yael Eisenstadt, a former CIA officer and White House advisor known for her involvement in the Facebook election integrity operation. Curious. Goes on to say, Gabbard said the decision to revoke these 37 security clearances was made at President Donald Trump's explicit direction. President Trump said, pull the clearances, shut them down. Deep state traitors, 37 deep state anti-American traitors identified, pull their credentials. Gabbard went on to say, a couple hours ago, our intelligence community must be committed to upholding the values and principles enshrined in what? In the U.S. Constitution. It's a pretty important document. And maintain a laser-like focus on our mission of ensuring the safety, security, and freedom of the American people. The memo noted the revocation was effective immediately, and the officials' access to classified systems, facilities, materials, and information would be terminated immediately. Folks, I gotta say, I'm thinking about every single person in the Trump administration. He's got some big hitters right now in the Trump administration working for Trump. I think Tulsi might be the number one. I think Tulsi might be, as far as I'm concerned, who is going to work every day, delivering, providing results, doing the research, putting together the case, connecting the dots, and delivering results to not only Trump and the Trump administration, but also more importantly to us, the American people. So the question is, who is the heaviest hitter in the Trump administration right now? Maybe if you ask me, in my opinion, it might be Tulsi Gabbard. I like Steve Homan a lot. Steve Homan is doing a stellar job. So Homan, Gabbard, knocking it out of the park. You can't deny, though, Gabbard is doing one hell of a job. Okay, so folks, there are some video clips I want to play for you guys here real quick, because that was a bit of a recap of where we've been. This is the breaking news of the day. But guess what? Okay, this massive problem with all of these deep state leakers has actually been an issue ever since President Trump stepped back into the White House 7 months ago. All of these leakers started leaking and trying to subvert the democratic will of the American people 7 months ago, the second Donald Trump was sworn in for his second term. Okay, the deep state came crashing down. In fact, Tulsi Gabbard was talking about all of these problems. When was this? This was back in April, a couple months ago, 4 months ago. Tulsi Gabbard was laying it down, talking about leakers also. Take a look at this.
Just first of all, point out what we know has been the problem for a very long time. One of the reasons why the American people voted resoundingly for President Trump was to root out the kind of politicization and weaponization of intelligence that has really undermined the trust the American people have in the intelligence community and the national security state, but really what also directly undermines our own national security. So I made it very clear to the U.S. Senate, to the American people when
I'm sorry, I need to pause. Listen, folks, we do not have national security if our national security officials are leaking classified sensitive information, deliberately doing so to subvert the country, to subvert the president, subvert the democratic will of the American people. You can't even say that we have national security. We don't have national security if our national security officials are deliberately leaking information like this. I'm sorry. Let's play the video.
Made it very clear to the U.S. Senate, to the American people when I had the honor of being appointed to this position, that we will not allow this to continue. We take this very seriously. It is illegal to leak classified information.
Illegal.
And so what you're seeing here is me carrying out on the promise and the mandate the American people gave Trump. We conducted our own internal investigation. We have referred them now to the Department of Justice and the FBI for an official criminal investigation, because these are crimes and people need to be held accountable to put a stop to this.
Listen, folks, real quick, I did some research before going live today. Leaking information, leaking classified sensitive intelligence information like this is a federal crime. It's in violation of all types of things, namely the Espionage Act. Can carry, guess what, how much? A 10-year-long federal prison sentence. If you ask me, guys, this problem has gotten so severe. We're going to touch base with Kristi Noem, because we had leakers from day one. This is back in February. Kristi Noem was having leakers, what is that, 6 months ago in February. They were leaking DHS information as it related to ICE raids. So take a look at this. Then I'm going to tell you what I think we should do about this. Take a look. Kristi Noem, this is 6 months ago. Big problem. It's been ongoing, and it still is going to this day.
I have found some leakers. We are continuing to get more. They will be fired. There will be consequences. And remember, when they leak information to the press in order to blow an op, they are putting law enforcement lives in jeopardy. They are risking their lives and putting their families in the position where they'll have to live without those individuals any further. So you bet we have used every tactic that we have. If you remember, we talked just last week about how I'm using polygraphs to go after and to really interview these folks, because we are a national security agency. I have that tool I can use. Also looking at their emails, looking at their communications. Yeah. And it's amazing how these bureaucrats who have an agenda to stop the work that we're doing to bring safety to America, how they will sell each other down the river if it's just to protect themselves. So don't worry, I am doing everything to find these leakers and to get rid of them so that we can do our work and our law enforcement officers and agents can do it safely.
Now, folks, this clip here, like I said, this is February 25th, 2025. This clip featuring Kristi Noem, DHS Secretary, Department of Homeland Security. This is 6 months old. The reason, you want to know why she was talking about, what is she talking about here? This is 6 months ago. She was having leakers inside of the Department of Homeland Security leak the information about upcoming ICE raids. Who were they leaking the information to? Quite literally, they were leaking information to members of Tren de Aragua. You had deep state agents, saboteurs, traitors inside of the Department of Homeland Security leaking information about upcoming ICE raids directly to members of Tren de Aragua gang, which is a foreign terrorist organization. Okay? And this has been going on for months, really ever since President Trump got back in the White House. And so this is her 6 months ago. They're polygraphing, they're tracking them down. These leakers here, they were able to catch them. We know their names. This is old news. But the reason I show you this clip is because this has been going on ever since Trump got back in the White House. You've had these deep state traitors. And so, you know, we were talking about how it's in violation of the Espionage Act. It's a 10-year federal crime, whatever, 10-year prison sentence. Listen, guys, you can call me a little bit extreme here. I'm not sure. You call me a radical. I don't care. Call me whatever you want. These people inside the federal government, they know what they are doing. They are leaking this information to terrorist organizations, to cartel operations, to undermine the democratic will of the American people. They're putting ICE agents at risk. They're putting everybody at risk by doing this, and they know what they're doing, and they're doing it deliberately. A 10-year prison sentence, folks, that is lenient, in my opinion. If you want to ask me, I think it's time we go a little bit medieval. I'm not going to explain what that means. You can use your imagination. We need to go medieval. Are these people traitors? Yes or no? I'm going to say yes. What do you do to them? What do you do to traitors? I'm going medieval mode right now. That's where I am. Now, this next clip I want to play for you guys here. This clip, this is Tulsi Gabbard talking about leakers just 2 months ago, 3 months ago, maybe. I want to play this. Tulsi Gabbard, this is a bombshell clip. I'm sorry, some people don't like it when I say the B word. It is a bombshell clip. Tulsi Gabbard nails this on the head. I want to play this for you guys to pay attention because Tulsi Gabbard puts this entire situation into perfect context. Take a look here. Listen up.
This happens.
You mentioned that example of that New York Times article. There were a number of things in that article that were completely inaccurate, which speaks to, again, and there is an investigation that's underway to try to...
A little bit of context. We've been having leakers inside the deep state leak information to various left-wing news agencies like the Wall Street Journal. So that's what she's talking about in this case specifically. Hello? Do I have my clip here? I'm going to reload this. Okay, I apologize. We're
This
back.
happens.
Figure out the source of this
Apologies.
leak or sources of this leak around that specific incident. But the effect is, it makes things much harder in constantly questioning and looking over your shoulder. Okay, who's in the room? I have to be careful about everything that I say because ultimately we're in a situation where these things being leaked, either by people who are just trying to show a reporter that they're important or chasing clout of some sort, or the most dangerous of which is those who are trying to ultimately undermine the president's policies. And this is not just like, okay, we don't like Trump, or someone who has a problem with President Trump and his policies. Really what is happening when they do that is they're undermining our democracy.
That's
because
right.
What they're doing in whatever tactic they use is saying, well, I'm doing what's best for the country, and I know what's better for the country than the vast majority of the American people who chose this duly elected president, Donald Trump. And that's where you can agree or disagree with his policies. But when people cross that line who are in these positions of power and influence, they are actually undermining our democracy and our security in doing so.
You've referred 3 people now to DOJ for criminal prosecution. Do you think they will be prosecuted?
That's the goal. That's the goal.
And
the
there's
only
another
way we
11
bring about
cases.
accountability is by doing the work of conducting these investigations. The Department of Justice and the FBI obviously have different tools that they can use in order to find the truth and to seek out that evidence so that we can actually prosecute these crimes.
Do the people know they've been referred? Like, do they still work here?
In some cases they know, in other cases they are likely not aware. We have another 11 cases that we are still conducting our own internal investigations around. Some will be sent to the Department of Justice for further investigation and prosecution for criminal charges, because it is a crime, it's a federal crime. And others, depending on the situation, will be dealt with internally, or where people will be fired and have their security clearance revoked.
And so, folks, that is where we are at now. So today, some of these clips are old. I wanted to give you a recap to really show you just how big of a problem all this leaking has been. Today, another 37 deep state traders, leakers, have been identified. They've had their security clearances revoked. Some of them, by the way, I know some, this is me. I think a lot of you guys are sharing the same idea here. We're saying, hold up, if these guys are leakers, if they're politicizing information, etc., manipulating information, all this stuff, you know, it's not enough. It's not enough just to pull the security clearance. We need, like she was talking about, we need charges for all of those people. Well, that's step 2. Step 1 is identify them. Step 2 is, you know, step 1, identify. Step 2, pull the security clearance. Step 3, then you file the charges. And so, folks, this hasn't really gotten a lot of attention because it's a bunch of people bunch of no-name people that you've never heard of. There have been at least 11, maybe 12 that I've seen over the last couple months, deep state leakers, deep state information manipulators that have been referred to the DOJ and then have received criminal charges. So people say, nobody ever gets arrested, nobody ever gets held accountable. We've had over 10 that I know of that over the last 7 months, Trump has gotten back in the White House that actually have faced criminal charges. But it's a bunch of, you know, Joe Blow, Joe Schmo, Stacy Sally, Sally Stacy people you've never heard of that are getting hit with these sentences. So there is accountability. First, you have to identify, you got to pull the clearance, and then you have to refer them to the DOJ or the FBI. Then you got to have the charges come down. But I love what she said. I love what Tulsi Gabbard said, to this point where these leakers, what they are doing, it's not only putting people's safety at risk, it's undermining the democratic will. It is subverting and undermining the democratic will of the American people. The American people made a very clear decision in November, early November of 2024. What was that decision? The American people issued a nationwide mandate. We want President Trump. We want Trump back in the White House. You got rid of him under curious, strange circumstances in 2020. We want him back. We are unhappy. Bring him back. Get him back in the White House. We want to make America great again. We want mass deportations. We want to build the wall. We want fair and reciprocal economic trade activity with other countries. We want all of these things that Trump is doing. We want woke to be gone. We want DEI gone out of the federal government. We want all this woke stuff out of the schools, etc. We want to overturn birthright citizenship. Everything that Trump has been doing, we want that. And so we sent a very clear mandate, right? Trump won every single swing state. He won the popular vote, the first Republican to win the popular vote in 20 years since George Bush in 2004, which is right after 9/11. And by the way, this is a fun fact. I think a lot of people don't know this. Every single state in 2024 voted red at a higher rate than they did in 2020. Every single state, all 50 states, every single one of our 50 states had a red shift, pivoted further to the right. That's not to say every single state was a red state, but every single state shifted to the right. I think a lot of people don't know about that. It was impressive, the Trump's victory. And so anyway, the reason I say this is because we gave the people, democratically gave Trump a mandate. Okay, we wanted him back. And then you have all of these random, unnamed, mysterious shadow figures in the deep state that have taken it upon themselves. They're saying, yes, I understand the American people voted for President Trump overwhelmingly, but I, Mr. Deep State, I'm going to start leaking information. I really don't care what the people voted for. I really don't care what the people wanted. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start leaking sensitive information and putting ICE officers at risk, or putting border security officers at risk and putting Americans at risk. That's what these deep state people are doing. And so thank God we are identifying them. And by the way, this is the concerning part. This is what's just crazy about this. Trump has been back in the White House now for 7 months, 7.5 months, something like that. We have already found, 37 of them today, stripped out their security clearance today. We've already gotten rid of dozens before this. How many more are there? Right now, we've got probably 100 in total. I don't know, maybe 80 in total that have been identified. Criminal charges, kick them out of the government, they fire them, they strip their security clearance. We've already identified 60, 70, 80, 100, who knows, something like that in that range. How many more are there? How many more of these people do we have to identify inside of our federal government, entrenched inside of our federal government? They are actively subverting the will of the American people. How many are there? Another 100? Are there another 200? Are we going to be 3 years from now? Trump is in his final year in the White House, and we are still finding deep state traders leaking information. Frankly, honestly, probably, like we said, the entire damn fish is rotten. So probably we are going to be finding people like this. In fact, listen, we're going to do a little bit of a pivot here, but speaking of people like this, I want to talk about everyone's favorite, what can we call him? Anti-American traitor, agent of the deep state, individual who has been looking to undermine the democratic will of the American people. His name is Democrat Senator Adam Schiff. Today, just 2 hours ago, in fact, he has found himself in some hot water, and we're going to talk about this because it relates, because he has been leaking information. We're going to break it down. Adam Schiff has just formed 2 hours ago. Breaking news. Adam Schiff has just formed a legal defense fund as he prepares to be indicted for mortgage fraud by Special Prosecutor Ed Martin. Schiff knows he's in deep Schiff, so to speak. Now, the thing is, it's not only mortgage fraud. Yes, mortgage fraud. He's making the case. Some of these, Adam Schiff is not the first guy to do this, where he says he lives in DC, but he actually claims his address is in Vermont for tax purposes, something like that. He's not the first politician to do this, and I'm sure he won't be the last. But anyway, seems like there's a pretty strong case for mortgage fraud. He's been lying on his federal taxes every year. Now, but that's not the end of it. That's a part of it. Schiff launches today his own legal defense fund in response to claims, and in response, he claims that Trump is, quote, weaponizing the justice system. Adam, are you kidding me? Adam Schiff is claiming that President Trump is weaponizing the justice system. Really, you don't say. Curious. Let's read the article here. We're going to break down the entire situation. Senator Adam Schiff launched a legal defense fund as the California Democrat faces I'm going to zoom in here, federal investigation for alleged mortgage fraud, and President Trump repeatedly condemns him for years of allegedly promoting the Russiagate hoax, according to a report published Tuesday. Guess what? We now know that Schiff was deliberately spreading the Russiagate hoax. He knew it was a fake, and he also instructed his own staffers to leak information, He told his own people, his own fellow Democrats, to leak information, classified information, about the fake Russiagate hoax. We're going to hear about that. He said, it's clear that Donald Trump and his MAGA allies will continue weaponizing the justice process to attack Senator Adam Schiff for holding this corrupt administration accountable, a spokeswoman for Adam Schiff told the New York Times. This fund will ensure that he can fight back against these baseless smears while continuing to do his job. You know what? I got to say, I'm actually happy. I'm happy that Adam Schiff has made a legal defense fund and that he's having people donate money. You want to know why I'm happy that he's having people donate money for his legal defense fund? It's because he's going to lose. This case is rock solid. He's going to lose. And all of that money is just going to end up in Trump's pocket or in Trump's legal team's pocket. He's going to lose. So really, what is he doing? Adam Schiff is just crowdfunding money for Donald Trump and Donald Trump's legal team because he's going to lose. Everybody knows he's guilty. So you know what? Whatever. And also, I got to say, man, if you donate money to Adam Schiff, you have to be one of the stupidest people. I'm sorry to be a little bit rude here, but if you're donating money to Adam Schiff, you're not exactly the brightest bulb in the box. Let's keep on reading here. The legal fund, dubbed Senator Schiff Legal Defense Fund, was filed with the Internal Revenue Service Thursday, according to the New York Times. Trump and Schiff have long been political foes, stretching back to the president's first administration when Schiff, who was serving in the U.S. House at the time, he was a House rep at the time, oversaw the first impeachment trial against Trump in 2020 for alleged abuse of power and obstruction of Congress and for repeatedly promoting the narrative that Trump's 2016 campaign colluded with Russia. Now, thanks to Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, we know for a fact that all the way back in 2017, Adam Schiff, we have the documentation, we have the declassified memos, we know this is the case. Adam Schiff explicitly instructed various other Democrats, his staffers, etc., to leak classified information that related to Trump's Russia collusion hoax narrative. Adam Schiff was the shot caller. He said, leak it. Adam Schiff said, leak it. Russia, totally phony, created by Adam Schiff, Shifty Schiff, and Hillary Clinton, and the whole group of them, Trump said at the Kennedy Center on Wednesday. It's true. It was totally funny. Trump was referring to recently declassified documents alleging the Obama administration, quote, manufactured and politicized intelligence. They did. To create the narrative that Russia was attempting to influence the 2016 presidential election, despite information from the intelligence community stating otherwise. They did state otherwise. Russia did not, in fact, collude with Trump or manipulate the election in 2016. It made it very dangerous for our country because I was unable to really deal with Russia the way we should have been, Trump continued from the Kennedy Center a couple days ago, referring to Attorney General Pam Bondi. And I'm looking at Pam because I hope something's going to be done about it. Things are moving along. I'm telling you, they are. Take it from me. Trust me, things are moving along. We're going to have accountability with a lot of this stuff. Schiff also came under fire earlier in August when documents released to Congress by FBI Director Kash Patel reported that a Democratic whistleblower who worked for the Democrats on the House Intelligence Committee for more than 10 years told the FBI in 2017, listen, that Schiff allegedly approved leaking classified information on Trump that, quote, would be used to indict President Trump. This right here is a bigger deal than mortgage fraud. Yeah, the mortgage fraud problem is a big problem. No doubt we're not going to, let that one rest. But listen, we have a Democrat whistleblower. He was a Democrat staffer on the House Intelligence Committee for 10 years, told the FBI in 2017 that Adam Schiff explicitly said, leak the information because it's going to damage Trump. We're going to use this to indict Trump. And the information related to the Russiagate, to the bogus Russiagate hoax. And now we have a big super chat from Tommy. Tommy on YouTube, he says, I say off with their heads. Love the show, Matt. Tommy's going medieval. Tommy is medieval also. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. These people are rotten to the core. Schiff notably served on the J6 committee, which investigated the day in January 2021 when Trump supporters breached the U.S. Capitol and was among lawmakers who were granted preemptive pardons on President Joe Biden's final day in office in 2025. Guys, 2 hours. I kid you not. 2 hours before Joe Biden left office in early January 2025. 2 hours. It was in the dead of night, really. Adam Schiff was given a pardon, a presidential pardon by Joe Biden. Well, let me clarify, by Joe Biden's auto pen. The magic auto pen gave Adam Schiff a blanket preemptive presidential pardon 2 hours in the dead of night before Joe Biden left office. How weird is that? How curious is that? I wonder if those auto pen pardons are going to get overturned. I wonder if they're going to hold up. Trump, there's now a special wing, a department in Trump's DOJ, Department of Justice, that is investigating the auto pen. The end game here is to overturn all of the, I was going to say hundreds, thousands of auto pen pardons. Joe Biden's auto pen signed off on like 8,000 pardons. Joe Biden's auto pen in 4 years pardoned more people than 8 years of George Bush, 8 years of Barack Obama, and 4 years of Trump. What is that? In 20 years of presidential administrations, all of them combined, Joe Biden's auto pen did more than all of those combined. That's a lot of pardon, man. That auto pen was busy. You got to break out the WD-40. That's how much they're using that thing. That's how much they were using that thing. Schiff, however, had publicly condemned the prospect of Biden doling out preemptive pardons as unnecessary and setting a bad precedent. Well, you got one, buddy. That's weird. 2 hours before he left office. First, those of us on the committee are very proud of the work we did. We were doing vital, quintessential oversight of a violent attack on the Capitol, Schiff said during a media interview in 2024. So I think getting a pardon is unnecessary. Well, you got one. Curious. He went on to say, but second, the precedent of giving blanket pardons, preemptive blanket pardons on the way out of an administration, I think is a precedent we don't want to send. We don't want to send it. If you guys rewind, go back to December of 2020. Donald Trump has lost the election. Joe Biden is going to come into the White House. It's December of 2020. Adam Schiff was on MSNBC talking about how what did he say? He said, if Donald Trump starts offering preemptive pardons to anyone that he knows, maybe even his own children, it's just going to make them look guilty. Adam Schiff said that in 2020 when Trump was on the way out of the White House. That quote did not age well, of course, considering that he himself got a preemptive pardon 2 hours before Biden left the White House in 2025. Let's continue reading here. The California Democrat is also facing a federal investigation for mortgage fraud, Fox Digital previously reported. Schiff has denied any wrongdoing, claiming the matter is a baseless attempt at political retribution. Listen, baseless attempt at political retribution. Adam Schiff, you and the rest of your Democrats for 4 years, we had to hear every single day for 4 years that nobody is above the law. Nobody is above the law. Nobody know how many times did we all hear that between 2021 and 2025? Nobody is above the law. We heard that 10 billion, 10 trillion, 10 zillion times from the Democrats and from people like Adam Schiff, from Adam Schiff himself. Guess what, Adam Schiff? That means you, buddy. No one is above the law. The U.S. Federal Housing Finance Agency, FHFA, sent a criminal referral to the Department of Justice in May, claiming that in, quote, multiple instances, Schiff allegedly, quote, falsified bank documents and property records to acquire more favorable loan terms, impacting payments from 2003 to 2019 for a Potomac, Maryland-based property. So Adam Schiff was engaging in mortgage fraud for, what is that, 16 years, a decade and a half? That's not an accident. You know, maybe if it was for 1 year, it was an accident. I put the wrong address down. My bad, sorry. 16 years consecutively. Yeah, I'm not buying it. And so that is the deal with Adam Schiff, who now is being investigated for mortgage fraud, which is a category of tax fraud, really. And also for, the DOJ is investigating him now for directing this Democrat staffer to leak classified information in 2017 as it related to the also fake Russia collusion hoax. So listen, guys, the real big message, the takeaway here with today's broadcast is these leakers are out of control, but they are being squashed. They are being systematically identified, rooted out, pulled out by the roots, like the weeds, like the deep state weeds that they are. They're being held criminally accountable. They are being held criminally accountable. Like we said, at a minimum, 10 of them have already. And at a minimum, all of them are having their security clearances revoked. So if you want to talk about, draining the swamp, whatever that means to you, in my opinion, this is one aspect of draining the swamp, if we can use that term. We are ripping out all of these deep state subversive freaks in the federal government, stripping them of their security clearance, and a lot of them are going to jail. And so, folks, that really is the takeaway of today's episode. I want to say thank you all very much for tuning in today. We were a little bit behind schedule. I had some internet problems, so I want to say thank you everybody that was waiting for today's show. We went live a little bit late. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, guys. Everybody, I hope you all have a great Tuesday night. Have a great Wednesday morning. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully on time tomorrow, and we'll do another show. Thank you all very much. I want to say God bless all of you. Thank you. God bless the United States. Everybody make sure to follow. We are Matt Morse here on YouTube. We are Matt Morse over on Rumble. We are Matt Morse over on X. Everybody follow, subscribe, like the broadcasts. Thank you all very much. And I hope you all have a great night. So I appreciate everyone. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much.